Hello, it's Ted Corliss with News Munchies. Follow us on our website at www.newsmunchies.com. Also look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. News Munchies, dedicated to the legalization, medicalization, and reformation of America's marijuana laws. Welcome to News Munchies with Ted Corliss. We have a very special guest on today's show, Bill Levin from Indiana, and I'm going to let Bill explain who he is in just a minute. But let me ask him a question right out of the box. Why do you believe people in Indiana should consider you a serious candidate for governor?
Because I'm not a soulless corporate shill, but I have all the right connections to run the state properly. The interesting thing about running as a libertarian is libertarians are pissed off Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
That's where our party came from, okay? So we would be able to establish a government here in Indiana unlike any other because our internal would be not one party against the next, but it would be libertarians, Democrats, and Republicans all in my personal cabinet.
What?
Okay?
Right.
It's not a party thing. It's a we are Hoosier thing. We all must decide things together. What happens now is there is a GOP stronghold on our state. There is only their game and their game only that is being accepted into the arena. So we are being schlock blocked on almost every turn. This is why I want to start a ballot initiative in our state so the people have a voice about their future instead of corporations jockeying in their laws on the backs of greedy, corrupt politicians. I mean, look at this. All of a sudden, Eric Holcomb goes to have coffee and tea with the casino bosses. We all saw Godfather. We know how that works.
Right.
And now we have new casino laws in Indiana. We have cards on the table instead of machines, and we have sports betting that's going to be going on. And all of a sudden, a new casino company comes into town and buys the two old casinos.
Well, there's certainly a lot of largesse involved anytime casinos are involved. But let's back up a little bit and talk about this distinction between Republicans and Libertarians. Are there any anyone who you would describe as a Libertarian who's currently in political office?
There are a lot of Libertarian Republicans. They don't fly their flag as Libertarians, but they have Libertarian leanings. I
would believe that Indiana, after having suffered under the yoke of Mike Pence, would be interested in a fresh look at a lot of these issues. Do you still see the influence of the Pence governorship in Indiana?
Absolutely.
No, one of the things
Eric has homogenized it because Eric is looking to go to Washington, D.C. He wants to go be a federal guy. He wants to go work around. His eyes are DC. He has DC eyes, okay? Right. You can see he's playing the game of politics to get to D.C. He wants to be one of the big boys, and he's playing it on the economic front. I'm playing the other end of the spectrum. You're poisoning our state with your economic front because you're letting the companies poison all our waters. We are the 48th worst state. There's 47 states got better quality air and water than we do. We're at the bottom of the list.
Where is that coming from? Is there some kind of manufacturing base that we don't know about?
Manufacturing base, Gary, Indiana. There's the Wabash River up around Logansport is one of the most polluted rivers in North America.
Wow. Well, water is the resource we'll fight over in the future, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and then when we have environmental spills, we'll give up to $2.5 million to somebody to clean it up. So we have all these companies coming in to clean it up. If it was a bid contract, it would have been a $200,000, 500,000 a job. But since it's friends cleaning it up, they'll give them $2.5 million.
Sure.
It's being taken advantage of grossly.
Now, Indiana, at least the brand, suggests that there are a lot of people that would describe themselves as religious conservatives. Now, you in particular have input into this issue of freedom of religion in Indiana. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've done in the last few years for your church?
Started a church 4 years ago, and every Wednesday night we have services. We've done everything from broadcast productions. I mean, when we were at our best, we were doing Monday was movie night, Tuesday was band night, Wednesday was service, Thursday was yoga, Friday was comedy, and Saturday and Sunday we kept the place closed. On Saturdays we go out and we help serve the homeless with Hearts in Hand homeless outreach group, because they are the most in-touch outreach group I've seen in our state. They actually go out to every camp that they can. We do 16. We do 15 camps in a Saturday night, starting at about 4:30 or 5, and we go to midnight.
Now,
and we serve them all hot. We serve them all hot meals.
Well, I would encourage anyone listening to the podcast to support what you're doing in your community, because it reflects the idea of thinking globally but acting locally. But let's talk about the role cannabis plays in your particular church.
Cannabis helps us celebrate life and love's great adventure. It brings us closer to ourselves and others. My personal views on cannabis: it should have the exact same laws governing it as dandelions and poison ivy. And if I'm governor and I got to send the Indiana State Police out into the fields to destroy a plant, it's not going to be cannabis. It's going to be poison ivy.
Yeah, I agree. Tell us your website so that people can go to your website and learn more about your church's mission.
What is it? It's canitarian.org. I haven't been there in a minute, but it's canitarian.org. We do most of our broadcasting and work from Facebook, which is Facebook/Canitarian, or the First Church of Cannabis. You can find us in Google, and that'll take you back to the page in Facebook.
Are you experiencing, you're talking a lot about, again, government influence peddling in Indiana. How is that culture of peddling affecting the cannabis industry itself there?
We have no legal cannabis industry, but with Illinois going legal in 2020 and Michigan legal, and kids with cars who visit Colorado on a weekly basis, it's as available here as it is everywhere. It's just not sold in stores. Right. I'd say the state probably goes through 7 tons a week.
What do you are there real efforts in the legislature or any discussions about a public initiative to legalize cannabis in Indiana?
We don't have public initiatives. That's what I want to get going here.
Got it.
Okay. We don't have it. We've never had it. If I bring those words into the actual circuit of our politics, everybody will jump on it, because every single person in the state wants it.
Right.
Well, if you have a petition here, it means virtually nothing.
Right. It's not binding. I mean, my experience with that has been, as we've traveled through a lot of the southern states, Mississippi, Alabama, any of those particular states, Louisiana, there are no constitutional rights for the individual citizens to, petition the government by referendum.
No.
They can't, to amend their own constitution. And the reasons for that are Jim Crow. That's where that came from, because after Reconstruction and the Civil War, a lot of states had a majority people of color, and certainly they didn't want those individuals to be able to all band together and start amending the constitutions of these individual slave states. And so they made sure not to introduce the idea of a citizens initiative. Now, in Florida, the problem we have is that we pass citizens initiatives, and then what you see what happened last week is that our governor decided to circumvent the most recent initiative to give former felons the right to vote. That passed overwhelmingly, but now the state came back and has put a bunch of limitations on how individual felons get to vote unless they make all of their debts current and everything else with the government. But I guess it is giving me pause that at least we have the right to do that, but in Florida, but Indiana, you don't.
No, they don't even want you to say the word out loud.
Wow.
That's one of the biggest fears our local government or our state government has, is that we'll wake up and actually get that going.
Is there a sense in have you ever had an opportunity to speak with even local leadership, anyone in the local cities about the role that you all would like cannabis to take in the future of Indiana?
Yeah, I talk to about anybody who will listen. And if I don't, one of the hundreds of other activists in this state will.
Right. Well, let's do this, Bill.
Yeah.
What's in the future? What's on your horizon right now that you'd like to share?
Just going to get the ground floor of the campaign running, have different offices in all the different counties, start doing the dance,
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to encourage all of our listeners of this podcast to check out Bill Levin's run for Libertarian in Indiana. You can go to his Facebook site at which he described, but I'm going to let him do that again. Again, it's Facebook / say it again, Canitarian?
Canitarian. Or you could just go Google First Church of Cannabis in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of where love grows.
All right, terrific. Well, Bill, thanks so much for taking our call today.
Okay, I love you. Thank you for the interview.
Thanks, brother. Bye-bye. Hello, it's Ted Corliss with News Munchies. Follow us on our website at www.newsmunchies.com. Also look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. News Munchies, dedicated to the legalization, medicalization, and reformation of America's marijuana laws.